It's been a couple years since I haven't swum a 50 free at a pro series. And that was a bit of a bummer, because I sat back and I watched the 50 today, and you guys know in my 200 freestyle, I split a 22-1, and the tempo was long. It felt smooth, but it just I know I could have been at high 21 pretty easily in the 50 individually. And so it kind of hurt to miss that.
You heard that right. At the San Antonio Pro Swim, Michael Andrew opted out of the 50-meter freestyle. What?
I realized with the limited opportunities to race this year going into trials, that 200 IM is a race I haven't swum as much consistently at this level, and so I have to be using these opportunities wisely, and that's why we decided to do that 200 free. I also think it's the first time I've ever got out halfway through a race, which feels very rookie, you don't get out in the middle of a race. And I probably should have just finished the 200 for giggles, but I guess we didn't.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Michael Andrew is taking on the 200 IM. How does this affect his training?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we're tripling. So our mornings, we have 2 hours of 200 pace 50s pretty much every morning. And then our middle session, we're going 75s at 200 pace. So there's a lot more endurance-based training being put into our routine. And this is where I'm gaining a lot more confidence in being able to finish that event. But I do think now, kind of looking at the meet and the weekend as a whole, so we're missing some of that top end easy speed, and that's going to come from adding some more 100 pace. So the principle is the same. It's all race pace, it's all specificity, repetitive motion, but we're trying to add more yardage, because if I'm going to want to swim that 200 IM and finish in a 28.5, not a 30 point, I'm going to have that endurance.
I'm sorry, tripling? I thought only Bob Bowman and Michael Phelps did triples. What does a Michael Andrew triple look like, distance-wise?
The yardage is not as much, it's not as different as what I was doing when we were swimming doubles. But what I have noticed is the quality has increased, because now I can swim 2 hours in the morning of 200 pace sets, and then really be intentional with that effort. And then I can have a little bit of a break. So maybe 3-4 hours, go home, eat breakfast, take a nap, come back for a quick hour of very intentional 200 pace. And then I have another 4 or 5 hours to rest and get ready for the evening. So I think what we've noticed is, instead of really adding a whole bunch of yardage, it's added more made efforts, more consistency. And I'm able to get a little more just quality out of those repetitions. Because we found with the doubles, we tend to, try and push 3 or 4 sets. But by the 3rd and 4th set in a session, our body's so physically broken down that the efforts we're putting in aren't really helping us get stronger or faster. And so I think that's where it's been nice to kind of spread it out and let the body recoup before each session.
Michael's serious about his 200 IM prep, obviously, but is he worried about swimming the prelim, semi, and final at US Olympic trials?
Come trials, I'm gonna have to do this multiple times, extra events. And I do think being able to space out and have multiple sessions, and each session we're training for a few different events inside that. It's not like we're doing just one set, because each set kind of correlates as an event for us mentally. And so I can go into a race knowing if I can complete this set after this set back to back in a session, in theory, I can piece it together when it comes time to race. And that's where that kind of mental confidence and then physical buildup will help us going into trials.
So Michael's all in for the 200 IM, which means he probably knows his full schedule for the 2021 Olympic trials.
If I was to nail it down to 3 focus events, it would be 100 breaststroke, 50 freestyle, 200 IM. If you ask me, my focus is, I love that 50 free, 100 breast. They're kind of like my 2 prime. And then 200 IM is a big focus, just because, like you mentioned, I can swim all 4 strokes. And I feel like for years I've kind of neglected pursuing that event, because it's such a challenge in terms of endurance for where I've always been as that sprinter. My dad would say 2 IM's number 1, and my mom would say the same, because they love that race. They think it's a beautiful race when swum right. But yeah, it's those 3 are my kind of prime going into trials, and it lays up nicely in the schedule, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Olympic predictions. Way too early. Will Michael Andrew make the U.S. Olympic swimming team? I'm a big fan. I want Michael to make the Olympic team in the 200 IM. I think he does a 155.9 to a 156.3 for second, third, fourth, maybe even fifth place. But if he does it, he'll be the first man in U.S. history to make the Olympic team in the 200 IM and the 50 free. 50 free? 21.4, touching right behind Dressel. 100 breaststroke? I ran with 100 breaststrokers my entire life. I didn't understand them then. I don't understand them now. But who cares what I think? It's all about what you think. Bring me your best expert swimming analysis.
I've swum in a lot of pools around the world, and I think all of the athletes here, we kind of have this sixth sense when it comes to feeling a pool out. For us, what we've noticed is there's some weird currents in some of the outside lanes. You can see it from the jets in the lanes. But other than that, there's the depth plays a huge role in it, and it gets pretty shallow on the turn end. And so that's something that's, I think, mentally, maybe more than physically, it's hard to really say, oh, it's the pool or it's this or that, because there's a lot of factors. But it will be nice to see how things differ as we go into Mission and Indy. Obviously, our training cycles will be different. But I do think, physically, I felt like I was swimming faster than what the times reflected. And who knows, it could be the pool, it could be our own mind. I think the biggest thing is trying not to buy into the mental thing and find a way to overcome that and just perform physically.